you got an offense that's really tough to defend. You think about this, Barrett and Gunner. You guys can speak to this because you got Barrett. You played, and Derek, you talked to everybody in the league. I know that this is not a team you want to play against.
No.
They're not. Think about how hard Hurts is to defend when he's keeping that mesh as long as he's keeping it, and you don't know if he's going to keep the ball, he's going to hand it off, and also just the physical nature of everything we just talked about, Mailata and Johnson. Not to mention Landon Dickerson, who's been excellent, in the run game. Kelsey, who is still a monster, even at this stage in his career. It's unbelievable. And Driscoll's done a nice job across the board. And by the way, Goddard is an excellent blocking tight end. Yeah. This team will maul you every single game. These other teams don't want any parts of this.
What are we doing? What are we doing? We are live right now, and I got you two. I mean, come on, man.
What happened? How did this motley threesome end up together? I mean, what is happening? Derek Dunn must have lost his mind to want to be with the two of us.
Let's see. There's Mo. There's Larry. I guess I'm Curly.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think I'm Shemp. I don't know what I'm like. Like Curly was too good. I'm like that other guy Joe, who they just kind of stuck in there. Yeah. Exactly.
They just put in there.
How in the world did this happen? I mean, I love you guys to death. I have the utmost respect for you, but I didn't ever think this would happen.
No. Someone made a real big mistake. That's for sure. So people who are tuning in and listening right now, they're saying to themselves, what in the heck is going on right here?
You remember that movie, The Gods Must Be Crazy?
Yes. Welcome to the JAKIB Media YouTube channel presented by Ocean Casino. Go for the shows, go for the win. He's Derek Gunn. He's Barrett Brooks. I am Rob Ellis, and this is the Thanksgiving Turkeyball special with the three of us knuckleheads.
How is this a special?
Yeah, special is the right word. Special.
Yeah, we're all special. No question about that.
Right.
Well, look, there's a lot to do. It's funny because we got Thanksgiving tomorrow, which is great, and we're going to get Barrett cooking tips. We're going to get Derek grilling tips, and we're going to explain we're going to explain to the audience how I eat like I'm 4 years old. Like we're going to do a lot of these kind of things today. Okay, so all of this is going to be in depth breaking down. But I was talking to our producer Xander right before we came on, guys, and here's the thing, right? Ultimately, we looked at this year. And let's be honest, none of us knew really what to expect. The expectations weren't high for the Eagles, right? And we're sitting here now, and we're almost in December. We're a week away from December, basically. And we have total interest in this team. We're not just counting down draft picks. We're, we've gone beyond the evaluation stage. Of course, at the end of the day, it's about Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and all that. But it's fun, right? I mean, isn't that all you ask for, really, as a fan and as somebody who follows the sport?
That's what it is. It's fun. We're talking about a team that has potential, a team that, we can look at. I mean, I know when I look at this game, of course, I've been screaming run the ball for the past 4 years. They finally do it, and it works. I've finally been vindicated because running the ball actually works. But the big thing to me that really turned the corner for me, knowing this is going to be a pretty good season, is the way Jordan Mailata responded to Davenport when he's just simply pushed. I mean, he just kind of shoved him just a little bit out of bounds. And you see how enraged he got. And from that point on, that was his personal vendetta to whoop Davenport every single time he was playing against him. That's what football's about. I never saw that with Carson. Well, the bodyguard did it. Jason Peters did. JP was always going to do that. But he was the only one. Jordan Mailata made it his point to make Davenport's life miserable from that point on. That just goes to show the respect that this young kid Hurts has for the players on the team, man. They love it, bro.
What's your sense of what's happening here? Because they've developed an identity, right? I mean, we were kind of at a low point after that Vegas game, and it was kind of ugly, and rightfully so. People were angry, and they were putting a lot on Jalen Hurts in terms of throwing the ball constantly. Now they've evolved into this sort of old school, something Barrett would have loved during his offensive line days, where you are just taking it to the defense and literally just taking their will. I mean, what these numbers that we're seeing, the attempts and the rushing yards week in and week out over the last 3-4 weeks, we haven't seen in the NFL in how long?
Exactly. Here's something we may never find out. I believe going into that Detroit game, Nick Sirianni's commitment to the run was an experiment to see what he had. Now, you picked the perfect opponent because Detroit couldn't stop any of us if we were running the football, and that's Barrett on one leg. So, so he couldn't have stopped. They couldn't have stopped. But then all of a sudden, a revelation hits. Wait a minute. This offensive line can actually move people off the ball. I have 3 different versatile type of running backs that I can go to at any given moment. And this is like when Miles Sanders was hurt, and all of a sudden, wait, let's try it again next week. Let's see, we got the number 6 defense coming up in Denver. Let's try it against them. Wow, we're averaging over 200 yards rushing. Now, you know what? They say we can't run the football against the Saints' number 1 run defense. Let's see what we can do. 50 rushing attempts. Andy Reid never got close to 50 rushing attempts. Chip Kelly, Doug Peterson never got close to 50 rushing attempts. All of a sudden, the guy, and here's what I like most about this, and myself included. Just think about this. From the fan base to the media alike, a month ago, people are screaming, run Nick Sirianni out of town. You should never have hired him. Fire him right now. Jalen Hurts, he can never be considered a franchise quarterback. And all of a sudden, the last 2 weeks, what are we seeing? Hey, I'm satisfied with Hurts moving forward. Nick Sirianni finally figured it out. He's not a bad coach after all. He's a good play caller. How fickle are we?
But here's what I like though, Derek and Barrett. You can attest to this because you and I were sitting next to each other every day during the Chip Kelly era.
Poor you.
That's an entire show in and of itself. I don't even know where to start. And I sat next to Gunner in the newsroom for like 20 years. So I have finished today. Okay. But that said, one of the things that drives me nuts, and I get it, NFL coaches and college coaches too get to the level they get because they have a firm belief in themselves, right? Which borders on, let's be honest, at times there's an arrogance and there's a stubbornness, right? What I like about Nick Sirianni, and maybe he did it begrudgingly, maybe he did it, necessity is the mother of invention, whatever, however we got here, I don't care. He was willing to change. He was willing to adapt. And I'll say this too about Jonathan Gannon, rightfully skewered, right? But at least we're seeing more aggression from your both sides of the ball here. You're seeing guys who are willing to adapt, willing to change. That to me is encouraging.
You know what? And the big thing about this and me talking to, the players and then, just evaluating what's going on. And I hate to go back to my Steeler days, but I have to because I won a championship there. But it became a point where it didn't matter who you lined up against. It didn't matter, it was just a bunch of guys in helmets, no names on their jersey, no numbers on their jersey. And we were going to do what we wanted to do. And I think that's what Nick Sirianni and his offense has implemented. They didn't care what the statistics were. They didn't care who they lined up against, who they were lined up across. All they cared about is doing what they do best and let the chips fall where they may. And that's what happened. You can run the ball. You have to stop us instead of, you going out and adjusting to what the defense was going. Oh, well, they're horrible against the pass. We're going to pass the ball. No, do what you do. Mm-hmm. And then you become, you become a dominant team because that's the most that's the worst thing you can do to a defense is to run the ball and you can't stop it. There's nothing else you can do about it. Look at it. Look at your left side. And I say it all the time. When you have a 6'8", 380-pound left tackle, a 6'6", 360-pound left guard, why are you not running to that left side? Mm-hmm. Why are you not giving them a chance? Just inertia, it's alone. Pushing guys off the ball is going to make it happen. Talking about a movable object. It didn't matter what you have. You could put a battle cruiser, you know what I'm saying, from down in the Navy Yard in front of them and they can move it. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of meat right there on one side of the ball. You just got to get them going in the right direction. They're not pass blockers. They're run blockers.
Look, you guys both know this, right? So if you're running the ball like that, you're beating the other team down. You're wearing them out, right?
Absolutely.
And number two, if they have a stud court, we know Trevor Siemian is not this guy, but if you're playing a team with a stud quarterback on the other side or a really potent offense, you're keeping them off the field. Yes. More than anything else, you're giving your defense a break because those guys are just sitting there on the sideline. And I know time of possession can be overrated, but in that case, at least they're off the field and your offense is on the field.
Remember we saw this happen? in 2017, DGunn, we talked about it too on Quick Slants, but we were out there and we're watching this offense, and they gave the ball to LeGarrette Blount. He had like a 60-something yard run, and you saw the defense jump out of there off the bench and jump out there and start screaming and yelling and getting hyped. And from that point on, they rode the wave of running the rock, and they had some success because of that. It gets the defense going also. When they're running the ball, pounding the ball, and all of a sudden those guys start getting up a little bit slower. Oh, begrudgingly having to get up, after getting put on your back all day. Yep. That's what you want. Imposing your will, man. I love that fact that I can sit back in my chair in that office and watch this game and understand that there's nothing they could do about it. They can run the ball on anybody in the league, and it might be, I don't care if they play Dallas's starters or not.
Yeah.
When you can run the ball like that, that's the best defense against that offense, because you're on the field and the other offense is off the field.
There's very few dominant run games in the National Football League, in this pass-happy league that we've been watching for the last 7, 8, 9 years. I've always said football is as much psychological warfare as it is physical warfare. And like Barrett said, when you're constantly embarrassing an opponent, no matter how much they stack a line of scrimmage, no matter how many stunts they try, no matter how many games they play, and all they're doing is looking at running backs back of the jersey, and they're getting up off their backs, and offensive linemen are standing over them, daring them to get back in the trenches again. You've won half the battle right there. Now, going back to Nick Sirianni, I believe, and I understand why. New coach, new kid in town, he comes in, he has this philosophy. He has this playbook. He's from the Frank Reich School of Offense, and he's going to implement his style of football, different style of football, and he beats it into his players, and they come out of the gate. It looks perfect the first game against Atlanta, and he stays with it in the next few games, and it doesn't look so good against better opponents, and then he keeps staying with it. He won't change because, this is how he got the job. This is what he sold Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman on to get this job. But somebody somewhere along the lines finally got in his ear and said, hold up, what you want to do, the way you want to do it, you may not have the personnel right now to do what you want to do. So we need to adjust on the fly. Mm-hmm. You got these bookend tackles here. You've got one of the smartest centers in the game. We have offensive linemen, interchangeable parts, who are being groomed by one of the best offensive line coaches in the game, in Jeff Stoutland. We can do something a little different that nobody's expecting from us. So he finally gave in, worked against Detroit, worked again the next week. Now, all of a sudden, the Eagles, this is just still blowing me away. The Eagles' run game has now become the talk of the National Football League. A team that everybody was laughing at and marking off as a W on their calendars. Yes. All of a sudden, you got to rethink this position now. And oh, by the way, we have to talk about this team in the same breath as the word playoff now, because it's a very viable possibility it could happen for this team.
Well, think about it, guys. So you normally, when you're 5-6 at this point, you're saying, all right, it's a done deal. Yeah, you're trying to grab a couple positives and look at a draft pick. And we were there about 3 weeks ago. We're not there now. And the combination of the way the Eagles are playing right now, the people around them, some of these teams like the Saints, like we saw last week, who were going the other way, the needle's definitely pointing down on a lot of those other teams. And the Eagles going this way in a bad, minus Dallas, in a bad division, in a conference that's pretty wide open. The thought of this would have been crazy a couple of weeks back. It's not at all. You look at what they have left. The Giants twice. If anybody's watched the Giants this year, they suck, and they're an embarrassment.
Stink. How do you really feel?
It's a train wreck. Jason Garrett's out. Freddie Kitchens. I actually would have preferred Jason Garrett held on to his job.
Right. I agree.
You look at what Washington is. Now, they look like they're a little bit better, but I'm not buying it all the way. Nope. I mean, they beat a Carolina team that isn't special at all. So they're okay. But you might get Dallas in the last week. I think, Barrett, you referenced this. Who knows where that is? Dallas might be playing for home field for the conference, which means they'll probably be playing everybody. But if not, if they're already locked in, you're going to be getting Cooper Rush and just a bunch of guys.
So see, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to worry about that, though, because that's how you beat Dallas. You run the ball against Dallas.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can do that now.
Yeah.
We can do that now.
No, listen, you're right. And this is, what we're seeing here, the offshoot of the running attack is Jalen Hurts. Okay. And a guy who now is starting to really find his footing and find his confidence. And you're seeing the chemistry that he's got with Devontae Smith, that he's got with Dallas Goedert. Yes, some other guys need to step up from the receiver realm for sure. But you got an offense that's really tough to defend. You think about this, Barrett and Gunner. You guys can speak to this because you got Barrett. You played, and Derek, you talked to everybody in the league. I know that this is not a team you want to play against.
No.
They're not. Think about how hard Hurts is to defend when he's keeping that mesh as long as he's keeping it, and you don't know if he's going to keep the ball, he's going to hand it off, and also just the physical nature of everything we just talked about, Mailata and Johnson. Not to mention Landon Dickerson, who's been excellent, in the run game. Kelsey, who is still a monster, even at this stage in his career. It's unbelievable. And Driscoll's done a nice job across the board. And by the way, Goddard is an excellent blocking tight end. Yeah. This team will maul you every single game. These other teams don't want any parts of this.
I equate Jalen Hurts to the modern day Clint Eastwood. You never know what he's thinking. You never know how he's feeling. And I tell you what, I have the utmost respect for this young man because of one reason. Go back to training camp. No matter how many times he was peppered about rumors about quarterbacks coming in here, no matter how many times he was chastised early on in the season about his overall game. I always like to look at a player's demeanor in his face when he's sitting in front of the media when things are going bad and he's peppered with questions about his play and about the rumors and this, that, and the other. And you could tell he never cracked. He kept the even demeanor. You don't know what he's thinking. You know how much he's feeling the pressure. He didn't let the media get to him. I always love the players, and Barrett can attest to this. We talk about this all the time. I love the players that say, I don't know what the people are saying about me. I don't know what the media is saying about me. And I'm not saying whatever said that, but that's a lie. You know why it's a lie? Because if they don't hear it themselves directly, they have friends, family members, an agent. Somebody is telling them exactly what's being said about them. But he never cracked. Although that line about a deuce dropping a deuce, I was like, wait a minute, whoa, that's a little different. I hadn't heard that before.
That's keeping it real going wrong.
I know. Yeah, exactly. But he hasn't cracked, and now he's getting out there, and the fact that they run the ball so efficiently, as crazy as it sounds, I think he's a better quarterback by having less opportunities to step back and throw, because they're using his whole array of athleticism. And now when defenses look at Jalen Hurts, the thing that frightens them the most, more so than his passing ability, is that ability to step up and not just pick up necessary yards, but make you look bad in the process. And he's such a smart quarterback. He gets down when he has to. He steps out of bounds when he has to. He's not taking any unnecessary shots. He's not putting his body in harm's way. He's living to play another day. I remember, go back to Michael Vick. How many times were we screaming, would you please learn how to slide? Please. Michael Vick, knee injury, shoulder injury, never learned how to slide. Even Carson Wentz wouldn't get down sometimes.
They tried to train him. They used the freeze to try to show him how to slide.
Yeah. Michael Vick had Jimmy Rollins come in, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he tried to teach. Still didn't work.
No.
Jalen Hurts would say, you know what? I want to live to play another day.
Yep.
Right.
I'm not trying to be on anybody's eye. I'm trying every day. He understands every game is an audition. Every week's an audition for him to see if the Eagles are going to commit him beyond the 2021. And, we thought, this is going to be bad a few weeks ago. Now we're thinking, hey, you know what? This team can focus on other areas now. If he keeps playing like this and keeps progressing, they don't have to worry about looking at a quarterback now this offseason.
Yeah, and that's the big thing right there, I mean, Jalen Hurts is they try to run this RPO system. And when you run the RPO, you have to be able to run the ball efficiently. Well, during that time period, they really didn't have the personnel to run the ball because, when Mailata got hurt, you had Dillard in there, and Dillard's not a run blocker. He's actually an excellent pass blocker. He can block the edge, but he can't run block. When you put Dillard back in there, when we take Dillard out and put Mailata back in there, now you can run the ball efficiently. Now when you run an RPO, they don't run RPO, they just run read option now because they don't have to run the pass part of the RPO. They just run the read option. That defensive end in which they're optioning off of, he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. If he stays out wide, he's going to hand the ball off to that running back. He's going to be explosive on the field.
Right.
But if he crashes to get him, now he lets the quarterback run outside outside and he gains yardage. So, what are you going to do? All right, you're going to bring a safety in. You're going to bring a corner to blitz off that side, the same side they're going to run RPO off of. Now he's open. Now Jalen Hurts has found a way that he's patient in the pocket and he can deliver the ball down the field. his maturation as a quarterback is going along hand in hand.
Yeah.
And in the offensive coordinator / head coaches, Sirianni's, maturation of becoming, they're lifting each other as they're climbing. They're lifting each other as they're climbing.
Yeah, so, and here's the beauty, right, Barrett? All we talked about was, man, if he could just figure out the throwing part. This guy's got all the intangibles, right? Nobody doubted how mature he was. We saw that when he left Alabama, went to Oklahoma, the way he handled himself and the way he was ready at Alabama his last year there and stepped in the SEC championship game. You knew how smart he was. You had to listen to the guy for 2 seconds. You could tell he grew up with a coach, his dad. You knew. So all the intangible stuff was there. We all just kept saying, yeah, but can he do the other stuff? And to what Derek was saying earlier, he's so smart on the field. Like,
yes,
he's got that Russell Wilson sort of Brian Westbrook, never going to take the nasty shot, live to see another day. And I truly believe this. He doesn't care a whit about numbers. All he cares about is wins. Like if he only had 12 attempts, who cares? Did we win the game? And that's all that guy cares. And that's rare for that position with these young guys. It is.
It's absolutely rare. You're talking about a guy that, he hears everybody talking. Oh, is he the guy? We had 3 first-round picks. They're burning a hole in Howie's pocket right now. Oh, is he a franchise quarterback? He's not even worried about that. He hears it, and he's not stupid. He understands what he's up against, but he also understands he can take care of the intangibles, what's going on the field. He can take care of my play on the field is going to dictate what my future is. So I'm going to go out and play to the best of my ability, not up to everybody else's standards. I'm up to my standard. His standards are probably higher than anybody else's.
Yeah, think about how we were screaming. We were screaming about how, what in the world were they thinking drafting a quarterback in the second round when you are a franchise quarterback? What were you thinking? And now here we are sitting here today singing his praises. And, it's like Bizarro World. It's like us 3 here on this show right now. We're sitting here talking about singing the praises of Howie Roseman for seeing something that we never.
I'm not going that far.
Yes, you are.
I'm not going that far.
Look. Not just when I say we, I don't mean we, but I mean we in general in this market.
Yes.
We have lambasted Howie for a number of things across the board. Okay,
I like that lambast. You're right.
But as we sit here right now, you got to give Howie some kudos, man. I mean, you jettison franchise quarterback out of here. Now you turn the reins over to this kid, and you told us, take, just give it time. Give it time. And we're like, what? Well, why should we listen to you? And now all of a sudden, you got to give Howie some credit for this.
Well, take it a step further, Derek. I mean, your 1-2 punch from this past year's draft is killing it.
Yes.
The Alabama boys, man, between what Devontae's going and Landon Dickerson. And look, my biggest fear with Landon Dickerson wasn't his ability. The dude, he's talented and he's nasty. He's got a mean streak. He's got kind of a Runyon sort of streak. Can he stay healthy? So far so good. But that right now, man, the top end of this draft is looking real good.
Well,
go ahead, Bear.
No, I was just saying to say, we saying yes, kudos to that, but 3 first rounders, and you look on the stream, it's saying the same thing. Do you trust him with 3 first rounders? Do you trust him to do the right thing?
Well, that's a little different story.
That's fair. Look, there's been too many misses, man. There's been too many high misses. We had a parade because J.J. Arcega-Whiteside caught a ball this week, right? That's a second-round pick. Jalen Reagor, it's well chronicled. Look, when I do the post game every single week, right? Yeah. And I ask our buddy Dan Klecko the same question. What does he do well? Yeah. He doesn't return well. He doesn't have an instinct for the return game. You see it when he fields a punt inside his own 5.
Right.
He doesn't run routes well. He's not a burner, even though we were told he was a burner. They try to get him involved in sort of these jet sweep, wide receiver screen throws, and they lose yardage. Like, I don't know what he is. So, Barrett, you're right. I mean, credit where credit's due, but there are also some swings and misses here.
Yes. One of the swings where you hit a home run, obviously, is Jordan Mailata. We're thinking, why would you waste a 7th round pick on a rugby player? And obviously at that time, you didn't have to play him because you had depth across the offensive line. You had versatility across the offensive line. But the Jordan Mailata, we got a sample of last year, and I'm seeing this year. I look at him and I go, you remember the movie Blazing Saddles? Remember Mungo?
Yes.
Is that Alex Karras? That was Alex Karras, wasn't it? Former Lion?
Yeah, go block somebody. Mungo, go block somebody. This man, that one play that stands out in the Saints game, I forget what quarter it's in. He blocked somebody, and here comes Cameron Jordan on the edge, and all he did was stick his hand out, and he went toppling like a rabbit being shot with buckshot. I'm thinking, how strong is this man? And be as agile as he is, this man's going to kill somebody before the season's over.
Yeah, he's got that Reggie White strength. You know what I mean?
Goodness.
Yeah.
One arm just lifting up at 300 pounds.
Yeah, ask Barrett about that Reggie White strength.
Why do you think I brought it up?
Well, we always got to get personal, man. We always got to get personal, man. You know,
one of my favorite videos of all time.
Why you always got to bring that up?
He went there, man.
Yeah.
First show together, and he does
lie,
that,
man. I thought we were friends, man.
Look, you know, DGunn, you know I'm gonna call it like I see it.
And these streets are mean out here, man.
I tell people all the
Thanksgiving too, on Turkeyball Day, we're doing that.
I mean, come on, man. You gotta understand, man. Mr. White, you keep calling Red. Mr. White, man. He
that's a bad
I
man.
tell people all the time, when you know how when your pops grab you when you're like 5 or 6 years old, he grabs you. You know, you felt grabbed. That's why I felt playing against Mr. White, man. You know, and I didn't feel so bad because you laugh all you want to, but I saw him throw the strongest player ever in the NFL.
That's right.
Larry Allen could bench 700 pounds.
Yeah.
But he tossed him like a rag doll. So
yeah, he did.
He didn't toss me because I grabbed and held him, but he was flinging me in the air like this. And I was going like this. He was steady flinging me, man. I got hit by 2 flags, man, and one flew over my head.
Guys, refs are pulling out extra flags out of the pocket.
Throwing their hats.
We've never seen anything like that. One guy took his shirt off.
Man.
Right. But lo and behold, though, guess what? Rodney P said, "Thanks a lot.
Thank
man."
you. Yeah. There's much more pride in getting that flag than getting Larry Allen. Okay.
Right.
I'm telling you.
That's what he said. Just don't be on the ESPN moment.
But that's the thing, guys. You look at this, and it's sort of a transformation, right? You've moved on from the bodyguard. You moved on from some of the other guys, and we don't even talk about it. Sam Malo out, basically done for the year. We haven't seen Brandon Brooks.
Right.
Look at the way these guys have filled in now, and I love the fact. I'll tell you, if there's ever, other than maybe like Buddy Ryan and that kind of defense and what Jim Johnson did for a long time, if you could script this for a Philadelphia fan base, for an offense to be this smash mouth, just take it to you, this is it. This is like their dream, man. Of course you want points, but to be able to do it this way and still score a lot of points with the running game and just hammering teams. It's one of the reasons why people are so excited about this team. One of the reasons why we're talking about the playoffs.
No question.
Well, I think this team right now embodies the mindset of the fan base in Philadelphia. Roll your sleeves up, put your hand in the dirt, and get dirty, and just manhandle your opponent. I mean, people are salivating right now because we haven't seen this. Well, I mean, think about it. We really haven't seen this. We've seen them have good run games, but to stay committed to the run, they're averaging 217 yards rushing over the last 4 games. Since week 8, they are the #1 running team in the National Football League. They're averaging close to 40 rushing attempts a game. Are you kidding me?
Insane.
Now we do have to take into consideration that those numbers are inflated somewhat because of Jalen Hurts' ability to take off and run. He's carrying the ball 10, 12 times a game. He's the leading rusher. I don't like my quarterback being the leading rusher on my team. But when you look at his overall makeup and how he's handling his business, you look at Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is going to try to get that extra yard, and he's taking unnecessary shots. The way RG3 played his game, it cost him his career early on. Michael Vick, the same way. Michael Vick spent way too much time in the tub instead of on the field because of the way he played the game. But this kid plays the game the same way, but yet knows how to protect his body and get down and get up. Don't take an unnecessary, a straight bullet if you don't have to. Be smart. We need you in the huddle, not on the sideline nursing an injury. And this kid right now, man, and it's still a lot of football to be played, but you have to say it right now. Up to this point, the Eagles are getting the last. I mean, you look up and down social media the first month and a half of the season, man, I tell you what, the comments were comical, creative and comical in terms of, how frustrated this fan base was. But now this organization is getting the last laugh right now.
I'll tell you what, I don't want to take an unnecessary hit from Joe Krause or Xander Krause, so we need to take a quick break. Okay. All right, everybody, catch their breath. So if you're just tuning in, I
ain't afraid of Xander. I ain't afraid of him.
I hear you. Ghostbusters is out. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. right. So if you just tuning in, you're saying, what is happening here? What am I hearing? What am I seeing? So this is the Turkeyball show, and they got 3 turkeys here. That's for sure.
Right.
Along with our friend who's right there as well, next to Barrett. But we're talking Eagles, obviously. We're talking about their playoff chances. But we don't just do sports, okay? With Thanksgiving now, a day away, we're going to get some grilling tips and some cooking tips from 2 experts for people who may not know, with Barrett and Derek. And I'm the furthest thing from an expert. I'm sure everybody knows that part of it. So
that man can't boil water.
Exactly right. So we would love for you to like the show and subscribe to the JAKIB Media channel. That's JAKIB Media channel. And you're watching the JAKIB Media YouTube channel presented by Ocean Casino. Go for the shows. Go for the win. He's Derek Gunn. He's Barrett Brooks. I am Rob Ellis. We'll get a quick timeout. We'll come back more on the Eagles, and we'll get you set for tomorrow, too. If you're not sure exactly what to do with the family coming in, these guys will take care of you. That's for sure. We'll be right back.